Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm going to show you guys how I made this halter style dress with a tulle bottom. So my client sent me this dress by, I believe it's pronounced Marciago. So I went to my local Roses Fabrics in Virginia and I got sequin and spandex fabric. So here's my bodice pattern. You don't even need to use a bodice. You could truly just draw triangles, but I'm using a bodice. And I'm marking her shoulder to waist, which was 11.5 inches. And I did not add any seam allowance because it does stretch both vertically and horizontally. So I want the waist to be the same width as the bodice. So I'm just, drawing a straight line to start my triangle. And here I already have a curve that kind of dips in, but I decided not to do that. I actually decided to curve it more out because she is in 8th grade and I did want to have more coverage rather than less coverage. I didn't want any cleavage showing. I wanted it to be age appropriate. So I do curve it out. You can not curve at all. It's truly up to you. But this is how I did it. And I do cut off the tip. I did cut off a little bit more than that actually, just so there's more space for me to have my bias tape. So here I have my sequin fabric on top of my spandex. I have them wrong sides to wrong sides. And I just pin it down and I cut it out, and I cut out 2 pairs. One for the left and one for the right. And then I just pin all the way around, because as you can see I'm lining it. And then I take it to my sewing machine and I did a zigzag stitch. Alright, and then this is how I cut my bias tape, but here in this video it's like 1.25 inches, but I ended up having my bias tape ended up being 2 inches wide. And this is me attaching my bias tape, and this is the side, and I am folding that little piece back. And then I'm going to just sew with a straight stitch. I used a 1/2 inch seam allowance. And I am stretching the spandex. I'm stretching the bias tape as I'm sewing, just so it can fit my client's body. And here I'm trimming off that excess fabric on the sides. And then I'm folding it over just like you do bias tape. I have another video where it's a little more detailed about how I do bias tape. I'll have it linked in the description. But yes, I'm just double folding it, and then I'm adding some pins. And then I'm going to top stitch, but I'm not going to stretch as I'm sewing. I'm just going to top stitch like normal. Alright, and then here is my top piece with one side, and then I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. However, this time I'm not going to cut my bias tape. So same thing, I fold that little piece over to the right side. I'm sewing it with a straight stitch. I should have been doing it at a 1/2 inch seam allowance. As you can see, I'm not doing that, but I should have been doing that. And then I'm going to kind of overlap it with that other piece. And again, still stretching and sewing. But I'm going to overlap it with that other bias tape, kind of, catch it under, which is why it should be at a 1/2 inch seam allowance. And again, this time I'm not going to cut that piece. I am going to cut the excess fabric off though. And then I'm going to do that double fold like I just did. But this time I'm going to double fold all the way down, because this part is going to tie around her neck. In the photo, she has it, Marciago has it tied around the waist, but my client didn't want that. She just wanted it around her neck. So this strap is about 40-50 inches. As you can see, I'm just double folding all the way down. This part you're going to kind of have to finesse. I actually had to go back and actually do my 1/2 inch seam allowance But this part you're gonna have to kind of finesse and make it look good, as you see me doing. And now I'm doing my skirts. I have my fabric on fold. But since it's like super high-waisted, I am gonna add about 3 inches to the top. And then I'm gonna just cut that out. And then I'm cutting the back, but I added a little seam allowance in the back for the zipper, which wasn't needed. I honestly didn't need a zipper just because it was stretchy, it had an open back, but I still chose to add a zipper. And now I'm cutting it exactly the same in my lining fabric, which is just spandex. So I'm cutting my 2 back pieces and my 1 front piece. So here I have my front skirt, and I'm gonna lay the fabrics wrong sides to wrong sides so I can line them. As usual, I'm gonna pin all the way around. I'm gonna take it to my sewing machine and sew it with a zigzag stitch with the length of 4. I actually ended up using my serger to finish off the edges, but I did use heavy duty needles. So here is it lined. And then I'm gonna just attach my 2 back pieces to the sides. Here I'm folding it in half just so I can find that middle piece. And I'm gonna put a pin right in the middle. So I'm gonna take my top and I'm gonna lay it right side. So this is my left piece. I'm gonna lay them right sides together. However, I want the top to cross. So I'm gonna actually go past the pin a little bit and pin it there. So I'm just gonna have to stretch and pin it across so it can reach the other side seam. And then when I attach the next one, same thing. Like I said, I wanted them to cross just for more coverage. So this is what that looks like. And then I'm gonna sew it across on my sewing machine. I used a zigzag stitch. And once I got to that middle part, I did backstitch a few times just because it was a little, bulky in that area. And at this point, I just go ahead and add my zipper to the back. I know I owe you guys a zipper tutorial. It's coming, I promise. So now I'm doing my bottom. This is for the train, for the circle skirt. And I'm using Karen's circle skirt template. And I'm measuring out 35 inches all the way down. And I'm gonna just put a pin. And then I just cut that out using my rotary cutter. And this is me cutting the back piece as well. And so this is satin fabric and it does fray, so I did serge all of my edges before sewing. I am going to hem the bottom of the circle skirt, and I'm just doing a double fold and sewing with a straight stitch. I didn't pin it ahead of time, so this is me just double folding, sew a few stitches, I'll go back, double fold again, and I did do this to the front and back. And once I finished hemming the bottom, I do start to put the marks on my train so I know where to sew my tulle. I did them 3 inches apart, so I did it 1 inch from the bottom and then I did it 3 inches apart. but I truly could have done it 4 inches apart. I could have saved some tulle. I ended up using 4 bolts of tulle for this. So I'm marking 1, 4, 7, 10, 13. I continue that all the way around the curve, and then of course I extended going up. So here's my tulle. I'm measuring it so I can find the midpoint so that I can cut it in half. And I'm using my electric rotary cutter. Like I mentioned, I used 4 bolts, so I used 8 of those half pieces. And this is me ruffling my tulle. I already have a tutorial on how I do this. I do not use a ruffle foot. I just prefer to just pleat it by hand. So here I'm pleating and sewing it with a straight stitch. So I just pleat, sew, pleat, sew. And I'm staying on the edge. And this took me hours. It was so much tulle. This is my assistant, aka my mom, helping me out. Alright, now I'm going to show you how I actually attach the tulle to the satin. So I'm going to just put my fabric on my sewing machine, so right where I marked, that's where I have my presser foot. And then I'm going to take my tulle and sew right on top of where I marked. And I'm just sewing it with a straight stitch. I think I have a length of like 2.5 or 3, but it's truly your preference. And I like to sew it this way so it's not so much tulle under my sewing machine. So I just do that all the way across. This is how it looked after about 3 or 4 rows of tulle. And this is me drowning in tulle. Alright, and now I'm going to attach the front to the back. So I have my front laid out, and then I just put the back on top, and I'm just pinning it on the sides. And it's a lot, so you kind of just have to stuff the tulle in there and just keep pinning and work through it. And I'm going to take it to my sewing machine and sew it with a 1/2 inch of seam allowance. And this is me when it's all connected and done. It was super cute. I loved this, like a big cloud. It was very cute. I was really feeling this dress. So now I'm going to attach my skirt to the circle skirt. So I'm going to push. So I have them both right sides out right now. And I'm going to push my skirt inside. And I'm going to have them seams lined up. And then I'm going to flip the tulle back, and then I'm gonna match those seams. So you see I'm matching the side seams. Once I match those side seams, I just continue to pin all the way around. And then I'm going to sew all the way around. I took it to my sewing machine and I sewed it with the 1/2 inch seam allowance. And this did take some time because, you know, it's a lot of tulle. And you have to keep rotating it, so just have patience. It can be done. You don't need an industrial, even though I want one, but you don't need an industrial machine. But yes, I'm just sewing all the way around. And here is my completed dress. It turned out super cute. It was age appropriate. I loved it. She loved it. I do think I want to make a sample one for next prom season. But yes, be sure to check out my other videos. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know if you have any questions, what you would like to see next. Let me know if I helped you out or anything. But yes, thanks for watching and thanks for subscribing. Be sure to follow me on Instagram and TikTok. And be sure to subscribe to Tayler'd Creations for more content. Thank you.